away from the meatballs, Billy Guerin. You're on the clock starting right now. Leader Fan Radio Network.
It's frustrating.
And KFAN.com. 1 minute and 40 seconds past 3 o'clock Central Daylight Time. Welcome back. It is a Thursday edition of the Bumper to Bumper program, and I'm not going to lie to you. Yesterday, as I was driving out of here, I'm thinking, God, what are we going to do? What are we going to do on a Thursday show? Well, I mean, we'll mix and match. We'll make it up. We'll get through it. We'll have Dr. Dan's inbox and a couple of other possibilities. And little did I know, when I woke up this morning, that the entire program had been planned for me, had been largely scheduled for me, with the biggest trade that Tim Connelly has made here yet. This is the biggest, is it not?
You think so?
I do.
Really?
You don't think it's bigger that you think Rudy's bigger?
I mean, how are we defining bigger? Like more assets, just bigger seismic, what it does to the team?
More dangerous.
Who's going out? It's definitely dangerous.
More, I think this is more momentous, actually, of any that he has made. When you factor in, this whole franchise is in a very different position.
That's true.
Than he was when he made that deal. Guardsy produces the show. I am the former Inkstand Wretch newspaper of the Twin Cities, Dan Barreiro, and we are going the distance today until 6:30. We have several outstanding guests via the uglydeck.com guest lineup. If you follow me on X, you already know that. Sam Mitchell will be our last scheduled guest at 5:30 today. Johnny will be with us, we think, about 4:30. And Tom Crean at the bottom of the hour. And interestingly, you had already scheduled him before this story broke. And there may not be anybody more authentic to talk to about the fit, because nobody knows Anthony Edwards' game and his personality better than Tom Crean, who coached him at the University of Georgia. And they text and talk more than people know. They're constantly in touch. So I am fascinated to hear what Crean says about the fit. Not so much, I mean, some of it is how you value or how you view LaMelo Ball as a player. But at this level, it's chess. It's not checkers. So it's not just the worth of the player. It's the player fitting into whatever remaining structure is still here, unless we're going to make another trade in the next half hour that I don't know about. And I don't know that there's any other. Well, actually, we are going to make another trade eventually, because we're going to have to add either via free agency at a bargain basement level or add another big forward, a body. You got to have, even if it's a starter forward, You're going to have to add something there. There's not any question about that. But we've talked about this before, the fascinating dynamics that are playing out between the hockey general manager and the basketball general manager. Forget the titles. That's basically what they both are. And I don't think they purposefully try to one-up each other. But man, oh man, they do make it interesting.
Be a fun round table.
They do make it compelling. And they both, let's be clear about it, I mean, they both have, whether you think this trade is reckless or revolutionary, what you can't deny is, to take swings this big, you got to have cojones the size of church bells. There's not any question about that. And that's what they both have. And so from our perspective, I can't love that enough, because it does give us material. What do we like here? The debate. The debate is rich. And look, I know how the position I've come to regarding this deal, and I might be biased a little bit because I've always liked LaMelo Ball more than other people. But regardless of that, just to have something this big to analyze, break down, and again, debate, because there is absolute risk in this deal. You are making this move on faith in a number of ways. If you're right and it pays off, you've hit a home run. If you're wrong and it doesn't, you may be, even with Tim Connelly's reputation, be looking for a job someplace else. I'm serious. I think that's the range here. And that fascinates me. It should fascinate, I think, listeners. Now, I'm going to annoy, I think, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I don't want to trigger anybody. But I am probably running the risk of doing all of that with the Naz Reid fans. It may even sound sacrilegious. The Naz Reid story is terrific. Sixth man of the year a couple of years ago. The truth is, far more inconsistent of a player more recently than people, the Naz Reid fans, like to acknowledge. And frankly, I wasn't convinced that he is made to be an NBA starter. I'm not sure he's consistent enough. So when I say, here's the way I like to put it. If you're bothered by this deal, I think the more reasonable reasons to be bothered is the fit. Can you trust LaMelo Ball? Is he serious enough about his purpose? Because he doesn't even know what the playoffs are.
Right. He had 2 playing games.
What do you have left in the front court? I think those are legitimate reasons to question it. If your number one reason is, I just like saying the words Naz Reid.
I got a tattoo.
And I got a tattoo.
And a towel.
And, oh, my God, it's Naz. Then I think you're delusional, frankly. I do. He's an asset, definitely. But he is not, if you're talking about people who are untradeable, he's not in that list. I don't think, not for me. So it shouldn't, and I fear, like with too many people, it's just that. It's the devastation associated with, I can't say Naz Reid anymore. That's, to me, that's not the best, most persuasive reasons to not like this deal. I don't think he's been good enough, often enough, even with all the goodwill that's been built up, to say, oh, my God, I don't care what we got. It's over. I'm going to start blubbering uncontrollably. Naz Reid isn't here anymore. I think it's more the other part of it. I mean, in all honesty, who else were you going to trade?
Right.
And to be clear, one of the debates, or not even debates, one of the questions that I'm hoping Johnny Athletic can answer when he joins at 4:30, if we don't get an answer to this before, is there's been speculation nationally that Charlotte might have wanted Rudy. I'll just say this. If you make this same deal and the guy you give up is Rudy instead of Naz, I'm hating on the deal. I'm done because Rudy, whatever you think of him, despite his age, and I know he's not going to be here forever, if you make Rudy the key guy going back in this deal, you're going to give up 175 points a game.
Yeah, you better hope that LaMelo adds 30 points a game.
Exactly. It's going to be about building on the offense. And I think an underrated part is he's a big guard, man. He's 6'7", which isn't bad to have. Even if he's not a great defender, that size is not bad to have against some of the other teams in the Western Conference. But I just think Rudy had to stay here. I even think it's possible that you'll get, not going to say, 50% more offense from Rudy, but I think it's possible you can get 22% more offense from Rudy with this kid. I think that's possible. I think the lob game might be more a part of it. So here's the key question for everybody. It's the reaction you had when you first heard about it. And is that the same reaction now that you've had several hours? When did it break? 8 a.m.?
Around then, yeah. Between, I dropped my son off for camp at 8:30, and a fellow father friend of mine rolled down the window and said, Naz Reid is gone. And I wasn't listening to the power drive. I was talking to my son. Right. I missed it in the 12 minutes it took. So that was, so about 8:30. 6-7
hours ago, whatever the case may be. Is your feeling the same now that you had a chance? Because there's the shock of it, and then there's because it can go either way. It can be, I hated it at the start. I'm trying to process it. Now I'm thinking of it a little differently. I'm trying to get past the Naz emotion.
Yep.
Or it can go the other way. Say, this is kind of cool. We had LaMelo Ball. Now the 1 and 3 guys from the same draft. most dynamic backcourt in basketball. Are you kidding me? Let's play. We'll figure out the rest of it later.
Right.
But as time goes on, adrenaline rush is over. You go, well, how's this really going to fit, though? Kid played 28 minutes a game last year.
Right.
He played the most games he's had in his career.
72.
But that's scary in of itself. He's missed a bunch of games through much of the season. So that's what I'm fascinated. Now, or maybe you're somebody completely consistent, so I either loved it or hated it when I first heard it, and I'm exactly the same. We're going to get a lot of text today via the Bradshaw and Bryan KFAN text line 64686. So give me the original Guardsy response or gut feeling. And let me know if 6-7 hours later that remains unshakable or it has changed.
My initial reaction was just shock because 10 minutes ago we were talking about Naz Reid finally getting his chance to be a starter for the Timberwolves.
Yes.
So I was shocked by that whole concept. Can't say, I guess, completely shocked because we did get word last night that the Timberwolves were sniffing around.
Yes, that's true. There was a little bit of but it's a long way from that because we've been sniffing around everybody.
Yeah, but LaMelo was not previously necessarily available, right?
Exactly. Which leads to a key point. But go ahead.
Name that, so they obviously pursued him. I kind of like you. I appreciate Naz Reid. I liked Naz Reid. If you've listened, I've also at times been just befuddled by Naz Reid. The defensive lapses, the turnovers, the stuff about the refs. I get why he's popular. I get why he's good. I get why he's valuable. And it's one of the great development stories that really the NBA has probably ever seen, right? From an undrafted rookie free agent to what he has become.
Well, him and who's the Lakers guard that just signed for $200 million, also undrafted.
Austin Reeves,
yes.
The best third option in the history of the NBA, if you ask Mike Trudell and everybody from LA. So I have come to really, so I don't know if I had a positive or negative reaction immediately.
Early, right.
It was just, whoa, because he fits a lot of stuff. The biggest question is he going to be available? That is literally the only real concern I have, is if he's not healthy and not available, then obviously it's a disaster. There's not,
no question about that.
So you're going on faith with that for sure. But in terms of taking the load off of Ant, the numbers that I've seen today in terms of how other players, including Con Knipple, score when he's on the floor are undeniable. I do think you're going to give yourself the best chance you have for Rudy, and that he's a guy that can throw it up and lob it. And by the way, later, Baron J, because I don't want to forget about that either.
No.
So I've actually come to really like it and really appreciate it.
I'm glad that's your direction, because one of the things, so I've been listening here, been listening elsewhere, and one of the things that there have been a few times I've been screaming at the radio, if you make your evaluation on LaMelo Ball, just on the basis of his shooting is inconsistent, which it is. He's a 41% shooter.
Yep.
I think he's decent from three, like 36.7. If you make your evaluation on the basis of his shooting inconsistencies, you've missed the plot. He is a terrific ball distributor. He does, no pun intended, he can, in that sense, if he has enough good people around him, make them better. They jumped up by 25 games last year.
Right.
25 games to 44. Or I think I have that number right. You have to check my math.
I think you're right.
Whatever the number is, they got better people around. I mean, it's not all him, but it's because he's passing to better people who can do something with the ball. His strength, if this works at its best, is he will open up this offense in a way you've never seen, because he can get to the basket. He can break things down. People have to come to him. It opens up the court in a way that, as much as we love Mike Conley, God bless him,
right,
can't break things down that way. It can liberate, to a certain degree, Rudy. It should help Jaden in this next level for sure. It can make even, I think, more ordinary offensive players look better because they're going to get more open shots. And guess who else it can help? If Anthony goes along with the bid. Anthony Edwards.
Right. Yes.
So all of that.
I'm very intrigued.
He's a dreadful defensive player. You're going to have to deal with that, but that's why you still keep rooting.
Exactly.
So that's a big part of it. There's one other item to me that needs to be a myth that needs to be shattered here. You're not obligated to love the deal. But if you, again, paint this as, well, this seems awfully desperate. It's a desperation move. Well, here's the little secret that I know Johnny is going to get into with us when we talk about 4:30, and others have. The Wolves brass, Conley, his minions,
Matt Lloyd,
the head coach,
Vinci,
have coveted LaMelo Ball for years. They have tried to get him several times before. Now, that doesn't mean they're right, but that doesn't smack to me of desperation. As you said earlier, what changed is he became available. And it looks desperate because we're in this boat where we had to move on Julius and we don't even know what we got and we're trying to reconfigure. But they have decided, and it's a big leap, but they have decided that this guy will be golden for us and will change the way Anthony Edwards, that it will make it easier for Anthony Edwards to take the next step. They've been in on him for a long, long period of time. Not just, oh, God, everything else, we can't get Kyrie. Well, what are we going to do? We got to do something. They've been in on him for quite some time. All right, let's take a first pause. We'll get a short segment in, and then we'll prepare for Tom Crean's reaction. As I mentioned, Johnny and Sam Mitchell, who sent me only one word in response to the news of this deal. I'll pass that along to you when we come back.
Bumper to Bumper with Dan Barreiro on The Fan.
From the 1-800-ASK.
A 763 guy writes, a 3.5-hour show for a guy who's only played 58% of games due to injury, and now the Wolves don't have a first-round pick till 2034. You're getting as giddy as when you were thinking Giannis was coming here. Maybe we should, again, reestablish or separate fact from fiction regarding the particulars of the deal. I think there are some people out there who literally believe that the Wolves gave away like 4 number 1 draft choices.
Correct.
And so for that individual who is, I guess, needs to be corrected, or maybe isn't paying attention, or maybe it's just part of the bit, let's give you the terms of the deal. The Wolves get they trade, well, let's stick with what the Wolves get. LaMelo Ball and a guard forward slash forward named Josh Green, more of a guard really, who chances are is not going to stay here. I mean, the assumption is you're going to have to use him and maybe something else to try to bring back a living, breathing front court player, just because you have to get at least somebody serviceable. But it's Green and LaMelo. Yeah, I don't know why I keep having. There's too many balls. That's the problem.
That's true. There's a sounder for
the morning show. Yeah, exactly. So it's the two of them. In return, Naz Reid goes to Charlotte, correct?
Yes.
In addition, the Wolves give up their 2033 unprotected. It's a fully unprotected first-round pick, 2033. Then in 2028, 29, and 30, there are 3 first-round pick swaps. In other words, Carolina, if our pick's better than their pick, they get to swap, right? But it doesn't mean we leave those drafts, at least on the basis of this deal, without number 1s in 28, 29, and 30. I think the second-round picks we are giving away. Yep. Without any swap, correct?
Right.
So 3 second-rounders in 2029, 2032, and 2033. The early reporting, it was tough to follow, and I originally thought there might be several firsts involved. Now, again, you're losing some flexibility there, but that's very different than what the texter was suggesting, and that I think a lot of people, my God, how many number, we're going to get 4 more number 1s?
Right.
You did give up a 1.
Yep.
It's way off. Right?
Yes.
I can do that, Matt. That's 7 years away. But you didn't give up those other 3. The other 3, you still have first-round choices. Potentially, those are still assets for you somewhere down the road. So those have not been indeed given away.
And you got to remember, both teams are probably playoff teams. They're both going to be picking around the same area probably. And a couple of people have put together a lot more context on the swaps.
Yes.
That it's not good radio to go through all of them.
Right.
But I think it's important to point out that, like, they're essentially, nothing's ever meaningless, but they're essentially meaningless swaps.
Yes.
Where you're talking about, and there's other teams that are even involved in some of them because of other deals that have been made before. So, because this is an extension of the Randall trade, too. It was just the other thing that's confusing. Like, this has all been kind of folded in
and
to the Julius trade.
I will say, as somebody who fired very deliberately the shot across the bow to the new owners, we're watching. You can't go on the cheap right now. I'm not demanding you go into the second apron, although it would really help them if they could right now. Because then they could get a legitimate forward. But this is them raising their hand and saying, all right, we'll pay. And, if you recall, I think we even quoted Tim Connelly yesterday. Well, you got to be, smart about it. But if there's something, a move that we think can help us exponentially, we will spend the money. Well, this qualifies. You may not agree, but in their eyes, clearly in Connelly's eyes, he thinks this is going to help exponentially. So they have stepped up to the plate to that extent financially. Now, there may be other aspects of it later, but I want to get back to that because I did make a big deal about it just because it's like, no, man, don't even be tempted by it. Don't even think about it. And that's what this move represents is financially speaking, at the very least, they're back in the luxury tax. Not necessarily in the second apron, but that's not sitting on the $33 million exception because, as you say, it sounds like this deal is going to become part of a mega deal in which the Wolves also traded away Julius Randle, right?
Exactly.
It's a massive kind of a deal. Dan, are you going to have a special session with Kessler to figure out what he did to make Lionel Richie ill?
Yeah, how about that?
It cannot be coincidence. That's Allen and Afton. Yeah, I do want to try to get into that later. So he cut his Earth, Wind, and Fire was first, and that's basically why Kessler wanted to go. And then it was Lionel Richie after, but Lionel Richie cut his time short. Is
after
that correct?
Like 45 minutes, so he felt dizzy and needed a break and never returned.
I hope it was just like dehydration or something. Have we had any word on the extent of whatever?
I've been more worried about LaMelo than Lionel, so hopefully someone can text me.
Yeah, indeed. All right, let's stay on schedule. Get plenty of time with Tom Crean. We'll get his reaction, and I'll pay off that tease on the one-word Sam Mitchell reaction to this deal that he texted me earlier this morning for a little bit later. Stay tuned.
Bumper to Bumper with Dan Barreiro.
I mean, I've seen enough. This brother...
Sam Mitchell will join us in about 2 hours, about 5:30. John Krasinski from The Athletic is scheduled for 4:30 today. Very fortuitous for us that Guardsy negotiated a deal with our next guest to be on even before we had any idea there might be this momentous add-on to discuss. Tom Crean, kind enough to join us via the Connecticut Water Systems hotline. Mr. Crean, how are you, sir?
I'm great. It's good to be with you. I just got back from the draft in New York a couple of hours ago from working for NBA radio there. So I'm great.
Exemplary work. I listened to a lot of it. Honestly, I know you love doing this stuff, but just outstanding job in that sense.
Thank you.
Our timing, like I said, is terrific. So there's a part of me that wonders, because of your sources, which are pretty impeccable when it comes to this team, that you may have known something. Did you have any inkling last night from your guy that this might be coming, or did you get any kind of early word, or what can you tell us about that?
Well, I think in these situations, and I've been down this road before, I'm never quite sure what the line is, and
Sure.
I think anytime there's pending signings or trades until July 6th, I'm real careful with that, as to not say the wrong thing. But I talked to Anthony quite a bit lately, and definitely last night, and then on the plane texting this morning. So definitely had some conversations with him about numerous things.
Well, I do not want to betray that trust. That's important to you.
Oh, no,
it's important in my
obviously.
business. I understand. Can you convey more generally? Because I want to get your reaction and your analysis of what this represents. But do you get the sense, because I have to believe that he's in on this, not that he orchestrated it, but that they are going to communicate with him. Do you get the sense that this is a move, because it's a big one, that excites him?
I think he's excited about a lot that's going on right now with Minnesota, to be honest. I think he's very active and paying attention, communicating. I know the conversations he's having with the front office, with the coaching staff. I think that if anybody misconstrued where he was at, the bottom with some of these reports that came out the other day,
yes,
he wants to win at a high level, and there's no question about that. And he's actively involved in how that happens. Like he's all in Minnesota Timberwolves, but he wants to be all in Minnesota Timberwolves for an NBA championship. And I think so, as all great players, young or old, have with their franchises, if the franchises are worth their salt, the best players, they know what the possibilities are, right? And so Anthony wants to win. I mean, and he's knocked on that door, as everybody knows there. The Wolves have knocked on that door of the NBA Finals. They haven't cracked it yet. And so I think he's always going to know what's happening. He's got a pulse on it. He's a leader. And I have no reason to believe that he's not. You know, anything that goes on when you're dealing with teammates is always going to be a challenge if they're not there, right? I mean, that's the Karl Anthony Towns stuff came in. He loves Karl Anthony Towns. Yeah. He loves playing with him. They're going to be great friends for life, right? Like, so I think sometimes people misconstrue those things, but Anthony's he's in a good place. There's no doubt about that. He's trying to get healthy, but he definitely, truly wants to win. I mean, I know the sitting out of not going further in the playoffs and things like that, those are tough deals. I don't think he's orchestrating anything. I don't mean it like that at all.
No.
But I do think he knows the pulse of the organization.
You have reminded us many times you have a keen basketball intellect. So if we leave your relationship with Anthony out of this, because I'll leave that alone, because I know that's an uncomfortable position. I'm not trying to put you press that at all. But as a basketball guy, when you first were processing, okay, it's done. This is at least the media reports. It's going to happen. Let's get inside your head about how this might work, where this might be challenging. Because I already have, a lot of texts from people, for example, going, okay, how do you think Ant will do having a dominant ball handler point guard? You can love both players and say, is it a good fit? Can you speak to that first?
Well, I think I'll say this with LaMelo Ball. I've always watched his game, and there is the feast and the famine, right? There's the parts of it that are just incredible. If you really broke it down right now, the only ball-handling, dribbling, driving guard that might be better than him when healthy is Kyrie Irving. When he wants to break you down off the dribble, get to the rim, go left especially, can go right, gets to that 1-foot floater. His floor game, when he is playing locked in and not hunting challenge shots, which sometimes happens, he's as good as there is. I mean, that passing is incredible. He's got unbelievable vision. He's the kind of guy you look at and say, man, I would love to coach him day after day to help him get his fundamentals right to go with the God gifts that he has vision-wise and talent. I think he is a phenomenal offensive talent who has got way more in him defensively, although he's going to have to make some technique changes. There's some sloppiness to his defense, and it's not quickness, it's not speed. Sometimes his feet are even. Sometimes he reaches too much. There's too much gambling. But I think you put him around other high-energy people, and you put him in an environment where there is some accountability for some of the I don't know, what would be the term? There's some highly questionable challenge shots, although this is a guy that can make some of those shots, right? But he's so good. Like, you can live with him doing things in the paint, even if they're unorthodox, because he's got so many unique ways to score. But you know what? I also think, I look at last year, I think Tom Crean being a teammate of his, I don't think it's an accident that he played a little more sound. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but there was a different presence about LaMelo at times last year at different times, because here's Con Knipple that is an efficient guard, very good shooter, can move without the ball, can pass the ball, and you realize, man, this guy can help us win. I would say LaMelo Ball is there's enough talent and there's enough natural ability that he has not tapped into yet, that if he's coached and he's coached by somebody with the pedigree and the abilities that Chris Finch has, I think there's more gears to get to. And now, if this happens, he's going to really find out how serious he is about winning. Because Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, that group, they have tasted it, right? I mean, they've been there. They know what it takes to get there. And so now that's going to be so important that gets across. But you cannot deny that talent. You cannot deny the burst, the explosiveness, the abilities that he has to pass. I say on your show every time, Anthony needs more catch-and-shoot shots.
Yes.
There's no doubt those types of things are there. And ultimately, how it affects Anthony is it allows defenses, this is me talking now, obviously, it allows defenses not to gang up on and load up on him so early.
Yep.
Because Anthony is a willing passer when the double comes. What Anthony's got to do, and I've said this on your show before and said this to him, he's got to move better without the ball once he gives it up. Like, he's got to go get open. He's got to cut. He's got to sprint. It can't just be I'm double teamed and now I'm going to stand here and wait. And when you add another dynamic player that can just beat, there's not a guard in the NBA he can't get by. I mean, there's just LaMelo. There's just not anybody he can't get by. But unfortunately, there's too many that can get by him. So that's got to be fixed and adjusted. But I think you're going to see a level of leadership from Anthony in so many different ways. Anthony's way more mature as a player than sometimes he gets credit for. And because he smelled winning at the level he has, and when you don't have it that way and you want to get it and you see all these other guys getting it, I think there's some really, really good days in front of Minnesota Timberwolves.
Is he serious enough about his craft? Is that a legitimate question to ask?
I think he is. I think he's serious, and I don't know him like that. I've watched him for a long time. I think he's serious enough about it. I don't know if he takes the game sometimes as seriously. You don't want somebody that's overthinking it.
No.
But see, when you've got guys like Anthony and Jaden who have grown through so many challenge shots, tough shots, the wrong shots, and when they've seen what can happen when the ball is moving at a high level, and if there's anything that Minnesota can take the next step on, it's scoring more off of their defense. And I think it's like when Io came in at the trade deadline. He energized that team, right? He energized even Anthony to another place. And Anthony plays with a lot of energy. I think the next step for Anthony is outside of the leadership, outside of just continuing to continue to build his skills, is to get more space to operate in a one-on-one or a closeout situation which is so hard to do when you don't have that other ball handler that can just break you down. Like, that's a huge, huge deal. So I would think when I say this, I think you're going to see the leadership in Anthony. I think that's something that's important to him. I think you're going to see that continue to expand. I think Jaden McDaniels has made a big stride there. And this is about his leadership, right? Because we've already been down the roads where he gets the blame when the losses come. He gets the blame when they're out early. I mean, he's earned that because he's a star player. I think he takes more responsibility and how the meal is getting cooked during the game, not just how it's after the meal. And I think that's going to be really important. I think they'll get that across, because if he's serious about winning, there is LaMelo. And again, he hadn't played with a guy like Anthony Edwards. He really hasn't played with a guy like Jaden McDaniels.
True.
And he really hasn't necessarily since early on been coached with a guy that has the level of success that Chris Finch has. So I think all of those things play into the favor for LaMelo. But again, it's not just how serious is he, how much will he understand how important it is that everybody else that's at a high, high level get to play the way they need to play too. And I thought he showed I thought that happened a little bit with Con Knipple this year, which was important.
His games played the last 4 years, 36, 22, 47, and this last year, 72. That has been raised nationally.
You got to build on that
as well.
You got to build on 72.
Yep. That's vital here, right? If he's playing half your seasons, then you're not going to get out of him. The vision cannot be fulfilled.
No, I agree with you. That's why this is such an untapped talent. I mean, it really is. I mean, he's untapped. You just mentioned it with the seriousness. You just mentioned it. no one looks at LaMelo and goes, man, you know, what a high level of maturity. What a vet, right? Like he can do so many things on the court, but he still does things that make you absolutely drives you nuts, whether you're a fan, whether you're a coach, whatever it is. You know, he can bring that kind of angst, but he helps put people in the seats because he's electrifying. And this is the time for me. Okay, if I'm looking at this as a coach, this is an unbelievable opportunity to tap into the development of a guy that's already darn good and close and get him over the hump. And then I think it's the same thing with Anthony. He'll get better from it, and the bottom line is his leadership continuing to emerge as the veteran that he is, and not only be recognized as one of the game's best players, but be recognized as one of the game's best leaders.
Tom, Ball is 24, Ant is 25, Jaden is 25. That's another thing I like about this is if you can, and again, you need more than that, what they represent, obviously, but if you get what they hope to get out of LaMelo and what they have already gotten and want to get even more out of the other two, you got something for a while, right, to build it around.
Absolutely. And then we haven't talked about Barreiro.
Yes,
I mean, come on, man. That kid is going to be so good. We talked about him a year ago. I mean, he's just scratching the surface. There's a reason the rumors were out, and I didn't talk to anybody in the front office, but there's a reason there were reports made that he was untouchable. I mean, that kid is going to be so good. And, hey, don't sleep on Josh Green either. My son was in Dallas when he was in there. That kid's an incredible worker. He's a dependable pro. He can defend. He can space. He started numerous games in the NBA. And I think his three-point shooting has improved. At least his shot looks better to me. Again, I don't have the numbers in front of me, and I didn't look at him today. But his shot looks better, too. So I think teams like Minnesota, a lot of these other teams, this is so far from being over because you're trying to do everything you can do to get to the level or be able to overcome what Oklahoma City and San Antonio are doing. And those two teams just had outstanding drafts and continue to add more pieces and more depth to what they already have. So this is truly an arms race in the sense of getting the right kind of players, taking some chances on star talent, trying to emerge. And again, it's like no one's going to draft or have to score like a Victor Wembanyama does. But you can find people that can defend them. You can find people that can help defend them, that you can build your team defense around. You're always trying to figure out how do we beat the best team in our division or in our league. And you look at the size that San Antonio and OKC have, and you say, okay, we may not have that size, but we got to have the physicality, the ability to defend it, and then we've got to do things that they can't guard. So all of a sudden, Minnesota adds a guy like LaMelo Ball. That's a big step in the right direction of being a really tough team to defend.
The Wolves in the round 2 select Isaiah Evans. Are you an Isaiah Evans guy?
I am, talent-wise, no question. We interviewed him the other day. I really enjoyed talking to him even when we weren't on the air. I followed him for a long time. He's made big shots in big games. He can shoot the ball. You look at him and you say, man, this looks like an NBA player. I think the structure, the discipline, the people that he's surrounded with, I've had this conversation with Anthony already, the leadership is going to be, it's going to be more important even than any developmental piece that they get from the coaches. The structure that he sees around him, the level of respect that he's got to have for the veterans, and then the coaches from the top on bottom that dive into him and say, okay, this is how it's going to be. This is how we're going to play. This is how we're going to live. This is what's expected. And if you want to be a part of this, we're all with you. Because if they tap into it and they continue to build on it, enormous talent. He'll play in the NBA for a long, long time. But he's got to come in my mind, and I'm just putting my coaching hat on from watching this for time and knowing the situation a little bit. They got to dive in and get a hold of that from the beginning. And there can be no wiggle room because he's got talent, but he's got to get established. He's one of these products of the NIL world, right? I mean, these kids that are coming in now, they've made tons of money, right? So getting your first contract, man, that's great. But that's not the big a deal as it was 3-4 years ago, right? So you got to get established. This is what a pro looks like. Because I think John Shire did a good job with him. I know that the strength coach did a good job with him, Preston Green, but there's a reason that he slipped, right? And you got to get him, you got to get a hold of it and say, this is the way it's going to be. And I would bet they're going to do that. They've done that with other guys. So my guess is they're going to do that.
All right, let's go. Let's finish with a couple of, I guess, extremes. Two different questions on either end of the spectrum as it relates to LaMelo, because I had a couple texts on this that have come in, and they raise a fair question. You say, all right, let's see here. Charlotte finally makes a move, right? They win 44 games. They didn't go anywhere in the playoffs, but a big jump from the year before. LaMelo's numbers good, shooting less, but because he got good people around him, assist numbers are good, etc. Yep. So if he's the answer, when they feel like they're finally getting some traction, why would Charlotte be willing to trade him? And is that an alarm bell if you're a Wolves fan trying to, sort of embrace this move?
Sure it is. Sure it's an alarm bell. I mean, that's the NBA. Without some risk, you're never going to get the huge reward. But the talent is unquestioned. I mean, and again, I'm just going to say this. I mean, Chris Finch is one of the best coaches in the NBA. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. Like him, don't like him, it don't make a difference what anybody thinks on the outside. The man can coach, right? And he knows what he wants, and he'll address things. I think this kid's walking into an organization that's knocking on the door of a championship. It's a lot different than the way it was in Charlotte. But I also think people need to look at the fact of the way that he played with Knipple. Okay, and yes. Knipple is going to be great, but he's not Anthony Edwards. And when you walk in and play with Anthony Edwards, there's a different expectation level. Even though they were in the same draft, there's an expectation level. And because of Ant's leadership, because of where it's going, and with Jaden McDaniels, so like Jaden and Anthony, their leadership has got to be to the level of their experience in the NBA now, not necessarily their age. And I think you're going to see that. If the Timberwolves are going to take the steps they're going to take, that has to happen.
No question. And I think let's go to the other end of the spectrum. And you kind of hinted at it, but sure. Do this in an X's and O's way that the casuals can, among us can understand. I don't want you to get two X's and O's, sure. Or my eyes might blur, and our listeners too. But I guess I'm saying dumb it down for some of us. At its best, what this move represents to the offense, because to me, that's the invigorating part. Potentially, this team doesn't get very many open shots, for God's sake. And a lot of it was, as much as we all loved Mike Conley, and he was important, he could not get free anytime he wanted to, the way LaMelo does. And so, to me, that's the liberation here, is that you should be able to get more out of Anthony. You should be able to get more out of Jaden. I think you should even be able to get maybe a little more at the rim out of Rudy.
Well, you're going to get more at the rim out of LaMelo, which is going to free it up for everybody else.
Yep.
Because he can get to the rim. And he's very, very good in that, I don't want to call it the mid-range, but that floater,
yes.
Inside the old circles, right? So here's what you have offensively, potentially. Number one, you're playing fast with LaMelo Ball. There's no other way to play. All right? Now, if he can harness some of the wildness, if he can harness some of the decision-making, if he can harness, he's got an incredible step-back shot. It does not look orthodox.
No.
But he can make it from anywhere. He can't live on it, right? When LaMelo Ball gets in trouble is when he makes up his mind so many times what shot he's going to take.
Yeah, great point.
And players, see, Anthony was like that. Anthony's grown through that. Anthony, when I had him, he was very much like that. And he was like that early in the NBA.
Yep.
Anthony has grown through the predetermined type of shot. He still knows sometimes when he's going to shoot it. But he's really grown through the predetermined. I don't think LaMelo's grown through that, and that's my opinion from watching him for a long time. That's nothing I get from anybody else. I think they harnessed that. I think his ability to create space and separation. And here's the big thing. There were not enough guys. And see, Anthony brought two to the ball when he was bringing the ball up. And then when he was in the half court, you could load it up, right? Yes. You could load the elbows up. Anthony could catch the ball in the wing and not only see his man, but see a man that was in help at the elbow and a man at the block. Yeah. Follow what I'm saying?
Yes, I do.
And now that's much harder to do because there's another guy that can break down, and it's all about getting two on the ball. Every time that you can get two to have to guard the ball when it's moving, rather than just when you're standing with it, it changes your whole offense. And as everybody knows that watches the Wolves, when they're at their best, is when the ball was moving off the top, it was going side to side. They were getting it swung from the wing to the corner. reverse driving out of it, creating open looks. Now, I think they missed too many open shots last year, but I know the guy that didn't get as many as he needs to get to be effective, and that's Anthony. And so now all of a sudden, the court dimensions are the same, the rules are the same, but the spacing changes. And that's what's so big. The spacing and the long closeouts and the two on the ball. You don't put two on the ball when LaMelo Ball is coming down the lane. He's going to the rim, right? So, because he's got this unbelievable ability to make passes, right? Like, you just got to have your hands ready because you're not quite sure when they're going to come, but it's going to come, and it's going to come with speed and velocity. And I just think what they can do offensively, but now you take what Anthony's capable of defensively. You take what Io brought to the team. You can change the energy, and you can change LaMelo's defense with really good defenders. We're talking about Jaden McDaniels. You could argue him as one of the best wing defenders in the NBA. And then you got Rudy in the back line, who we know is one of the best defenders. So I think by osmosis, LaMelo Ball is going to become a better defender on this team. And that's where you're going to see the jump. But there's going to be way more help and recover situations for the Timberwolves, just initially looking at this, not knowing how Chris is going to run his offense. But just watching this, I think it's going to make it a lot of fun to watch, but I think there's going to be more open shots, and I think there's going to be one more pass to the next guy, and then you just have to knock it down. I think the spacing is going to be incredible for Minnesota right now.
You have to find a way to add another big, right? Even if it's just somebody serviceable. We're all assuming that's coming one way or the other. Maybe not.
Yeah, I don't think they're done. I don't think they're done. But I think, Johan, don't sleep on what, if they've got, that kid is going to be so good. Remember, he's not played basketball for very long.
Right.
And he can block shots. He can dunk. There's so much upside in him. You could argue that is important. His development this offseason of being able to play an NBA game from the beginning is as important as anything going on in Minnesota. That's how I would view it. And again, I'm not speaking on behalf of the coaches, but that's how I would view it. I would be salivating at the mouth to work with that kid every day because of what he's capable of. And I'm sure they are.
It feels like ancient history now, the Julius Randle deal. Did it surprise you at all that they just couldn't get a nibble? Like, they ended up having to get money, in effect, and even a number one to get that deal done. When you factor in, Randall's got his issues, but were you surprised that they were able to get, in that sense, in terms of player for player, as little back?
I think they had a plan on that. Obviously, the money part was that. Look at Charlotte today signing Colby Jones. He's going to get $25 million a year.
Right.
I don't know those situations, like that, but Julius Randle's still an all-star. And I mean, a year ago, he helped take the team to the Western Conference Finals. I don't know enough about the business deal of that, but I know right now I think the T-Wolves are doing really good business.
Interesting. We appreciate you, as always. Great insight. And
anytime, man.
Do you get to, so now is there any rest? You get a couple of weeks? I mean,
hopefully I'm doing Summer League. Hopefully I'm doing Summer League for ESPN, but we're excited about it. So great to be with you.
Thanks,
I don't need the rest. I need the work.
All
right?
That's clear. I appreciate
I'll see you later.
Thanks a lot. Take care.
Absolutely.
Tom Crean helping us out, as only he can do. One of three outstanding guests today. It's going to be bonus Johnny Athletic this week. This will be, I think, the third time he's been on with us this week. He'll be at 4:30 tonight or this afternoon. And I'm very curious to get Sam Mitchell's analysis of this move. He is scheduled for 5:30. Texts are pouring in. Bradshaw and Bryant KFAN text line at 64686. And there's a bunch of other good questions that came in for Tom, but I wanted to make it more about this than, let's say, for example, the Micah Nori one-year deal. The Michigan guy goes from Michigan, obviously, Dusty May to the NBA. But there'll be time. There'll be a next time with Tom Crean.
You're listening to Barreiro on The Fan.
From the 1-800-ASK-GARY Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by the new Samsung Galaxy S20.